Right friends, welcome back to lecture part of 35th week. We are going to discuss various important events of the week from 24th to 30th August, and let us look at the important events. First and the foremost is stock market crashes and rupee hits almost 2-year low, and we are going to analyze what are the reasons for this crash and whether India is safe or not. We are going to discuss 98 smart cities unveiled by the government, and next one is political parties cannot come under RTI Act, says the central government to the Supreme Court. We are going to discuss what is the real problem with the case. India's stand on Palestinian cause remains unchanged, says the Union External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj to the Arab League when she visited Egypt. External Affairs Minister visited Egypt and Germany during the week. Data of religions released for the 2011 census, and a significant event is the growth of Muslim population is reducing. The next important aspect is various sports awards were presented. Rajiv Khel Ratna to other awards like Jhanchand Award, Dronacharya Award, Arjuna Award. Most important aspect is GSLV D6 places GSAT 6 in orbit, and for the second time successfully cryogenic upper stage was tested, and this is significant achievement or milestone for ISRO. Stock market crashes and rupee hits a 2-year low. On Monday, the stock market crashed. BSE Sensex lost 1,624 points, almost 6%. This is the biggest fall since 2009. At the same time, rupee fell to 66.60 a dollar. This is the lowest level since 2013. If you look at the other world markets, that is S&P 500 index, you may ask what is S&P 500? This is the Standard & Poor 500, that means the market capitalization of 500 companies in the United States of America. S&P 500 index lost 4%, Hang Seng index of Hong Kong lost 5.2%, then Europe's Stocks Europe, that is the 600 companies stock index, that crashed by around 5%. Then DAX of Germany crashed 4.6%. That means if you look at it, almost 5% crash is there for the world markets, and Brent crude oil came to the lowest since 2009 at $44 per barrel. And please don't forget, Bombay Stock Exchange is the index of 30 companies by market capitalization. National Stock Exchange is the index of 50 companies. Anyhow, let us come back to the point. Why the world markets crash? The world markets crashed because of the following reasons. If you look at the first reason, that day Chinese markets crashed by 9%. Why the Chinese markets crashed? Chinese markets crashed because of poor industrial output, poor exports, and at the same time, please don't forget, almost China is growing at around 7%, lowest ever since 1990. That means Chinese less growth. Second point is Chinese industrial output figures were not satisfactory. Third point is exports data was not satisfactory. Exports declined because of these reasons. Chinese stock market crashed by 9%. Please don't forget, prior to that, Chinese currency was devalued, and because of all these reasons, because the data is not pointing to the growth in China, the stock market in China fell by 9%, and subsequently world markets fell. The reason for the fall of world markets, I analyzed left side. Please go through it. The first and the foremost point is fall in the commodities prices. If you look at the commodities like copper, steel, aluminium, if you look at the prices for the past 2-3 years, the prices crashed by 20 to 25%. There is not much global demand. China is also growing slowly. Commodity prices crashed by 20 to 25% during the past 2-3 years, and there is no signal for the uptake also, because Chinese figures are pointing to the downturn. The second point is Europe is not growing on the expected lines. Arab countries, or you can say prominently oil exporting countries, their finances may be in problems in future because of the oil prices. Because of all these reasons, world markets fell. If you look at other reasons, now it is interconnected world economy and fear of capital flight. It is interconnected. You cannot isolate any economy. An incident in one particular country may have its repercussions all over the world. Because of the reasons, now the world is interconnected. It is no more in isolation. Another important point is United States of America, unemployment figures are satisfactory, growth figures are satisfactory, and there is expectation that the Federal Reserve, or you can say the Central Bank of USA, is expected to raise the interest rates. Because of raise in interest rates, what will happen when the interest rates rise in United States of America? Capital flight may take place from emerging economies. I am listing out the figures. I am listing out the apprehensions across the world. And these are all the reasons why the stock markets fell, and somewhat panic reaction because of all these reasons, right? And though the stock market fell in India, please look into right side in this slide, though the stock markets fell in India, India is not that vulnerable. I listed out the reasons why India is not vulnerable. First and the foremost is our foreign exchange reserves are quite steady at $350 billion. Second important point is our current account deficit is lesser than 2%. Not much current account deficit, courtesy or thanks to the global oil prices. The most important aspect is inflation is also under control now, though the consumer price index inflation is below 4%. Fiscal deficit is also under control. Another important aspect is our foreign debt. Short-term foreign debt is more dangerous, but short-term foreign debt for our country is not much. So, in spite of the problems in the world, though the world is interconnected, India is perceived to be safe because of the listed out points: sufficient foreign exchange reserves, low current account deficit, low inflation, low fiscal deficit, and less short-term external debt. Because of all these reasons, overall, Indian market is considered to be safe. There may be some panic reactions quite here and there, sometimes often, but overall the economy is considered to be safe, and the vulnerability because of external factors is not much. Vulnerability due to external factors is not much, but government need to do much more to put the economy on track, and I listed the points what the government is required to do. Please look into it. The first and the foremost is government has to give boost to the public spending, because private sector is not able to spend much. Whatever the reason, private sector is not able to bring in capital, so government has to give boost to public spending. Second important point is expedite GST and the land bills so as to address the concerns of various stakeholders, but unfortunately government decided not to go ahead with the land bill. We are going to discuss about land bill sometime next week or so. And third important aspect is take steps to revive the consumer and investor confidence. fourth one is remove the bottlenecks so as to give impetus to growth, especially in manufacturing sector. Otherwise it is not possible. That means you have to improve the ease of doing business index, which is at around 142. At least the government has to bring it to 50. Unless manufacturing sector is improved in this country, it is not possible to revive growth. Right? So this is about the stock market crash, how Indian economy is performing, whether it is safe or not, and what are the measures to be taken by the government of India so as to keep the economy on track. 98 smart cities unveiled by the government. Smart cities, 98 cities, 13 from UP, 12 from Tamil Nadu, 10 from Maharashtra, 7 from Madhya Pradesh, and this smart cities, central government will give rupees 100 crore to each city over the next 5 years. And total investment by the central government during the next 5 years will be 48,000 crores of rupees, and state governments and urban bodies have to bring another 48,000 crores of rupees. So total government expenditure will be around 1 lakh crores of rupees during the next 5 years, and remaining investment is to be brought from the private sector. And for executing these works, special purpose vehicle, or you can say SPV, is going to be created for each and every city, and once the facilities are created, user charges will be imposed. And regarding this smart cities mission, I deliberated in detail in news analysis. Please listen to it. Political parties cannot come under RTI Act, says Centre. A petition was filed by the RTI activist Subhash Chandra Agarwal through the advocate Prashant Bhushan in Supreme Court. Previously, CIC clarified political parties will come under RTI Act. 2 times CIC clarified. What is CIC? Central Information Commission, which came into existence subsequent to RTI Act of 2005. Central Information Commission clarified 2 times that political parties will come under RTI Act. What is RTI Act? Under RTI Act, you can get the information within 30 days. RTI Act is applicable for public authorities. Please don't forget. RTI Act, as per clause 2H of RTI Act, it is applicable for public authorities. Anyhow, let us come back to this issue. CIC clarified 2 times that political parties will come under RTI Act, but they are not giving information, and subsequently RTI activist approached Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court issued notices to Centre and 6 political parties. Issued notices to Centre and 6 political parties. You can look at these political parties: Congress, Bharatiya Janata Party, CPI, CPM, NCP and BSP. Notices were issued to these 6 political parties. At the same time, Supreme Court issued notice to Centre. In response to notice received by the Centre, Centre replied to Supreme Court. What the Centre stated is, political parties cannot disclose their internal functioning and financial information as they are not coming under public authorities. The contention of the Centre is, political parties need not declare information because they are not coming under public authorities. Other contention is, if the information is revealed by political parties, other political party may take advantage of it with the malicious intention. Right. Under these circumstances, let us look at what RTI says. Under section 2H of the RTI Act, here I have listed out 1, 2, 3. Under the RTI Act, these are the issues under section 2H of RTI Act. First and foremost is, all the constitutional authorities, as per the constitution, statutory authorities, including executive, legislature, judiciary, will come under RTI Act. If an institution is existing, whether as a constitutional body or as a statutory body or as an executive body, that will be applicable. Second point is bodies owned, controlled or substantially financed by the government. Bodies owned, controlled or substantially financed by the government comes under RTI Act. Third important point is NGOs substantially financed directly or indirectly by the government will also come under RTI Act. Right? So, these three are the conditions stipulated under section 2H of RTI Act. Now, if you look in detail, the central government's contention is CIC, Central Information Commission, has liberally interpreted section 2H of RTI Act. CIC liberally interpreted section 2H of RTI Act. Government's contention is it will not fall under the three conditions which I have already listed. Second point is it led the CIC to conclude erroneously political parties as public authorities. Third point is political parties are not constituted or established either under the constitution or under the law made by parliament, so hence they are not considered as public authorities. And the next point as stated by the central government is already Representation of the People Act 1951 and Income Tax Act 1961 exist to look into the transparency of political parties. So, this is the contention of the center, and center says political parties do not come under RTI Act as they are not defined as public authorities. We have to wait for the Supreme Court decision in this regard. Look at the next issue. India's stand on Palestinian cause remains unchanged. Our Union External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj recently visited Egypt in Cairo. She met the leaders of Arab League and she stated to the Arab League members that India's stand on the Palestinian cause remains unchanged. You may ask, what is the need for giving explanation by the Union External Affairs Minister? Because on July 3, India for the first time abstained from voting on the anti-Israel resolution at the United Nations Human Rights Council. There was a resolution alleging Israel was violating the human rights, and now the External Affairs Minister gave the explanation to the Arab League that our stand on Palestine is unchanged. Right? Why India voted against? We discussed in that lecture. Please listen to that lecture if you want more details. Right, remaining points I have given here. You may ask a pertinent question. What is Arab League? Arab League is voluntary association of countries where people are mainly Arabic speaking or where Arabic is an official language. People are mainly Arabic speaking or where Arabic is an official language. It has got at present around 22 countries, including Palestine. It was established in the year 1945. Cairo is the headquarters. It is also called League of the Arab States. Right? However, because of geopolitical problems within the League, its working is not satisfactory. Initially, this Arab League was thought of by the British government during 1940s so as to sought their support in the Second World War, but it could not take off. But during the end of the Second World War in 1945, this Arab League was born. The main purpose of forming this Arab League was basically to free the countries from the colonial rule. Second important point is preventing Jewish community in Palestine from forming the Jewish state. So, these two are the main points behind the formation of Arab League. Please don't forget, Arab League headquarters are in Cairo, Egypt. Look into the next issue. India Seychelles sign pact to curb black money. Seychelles is the beautiful archipelago of 115 islands. Last time our Prime Minister visited the Seychelles. Seychelles is close to the mainland of Africa. It is the African state with the least population. The population is less than 1 lakh. The capital is Victoria. Seychelles rupee is the currency, and it is also known as the Republic of Seychelles. And James Alex Michel is the president of Seychelles. Recently he visited India. Please look into this map. This is Seychelles in Indian Ocean. This archipelago has got 115 islands, and the two countries, when its president Alex Michel visited India, an agreement was signed basically for exchange of information to curb tax avoidance and tax evasion. Tax avoidance and tax evasion. There is a difference between tax avoidance and tax evasion. Tax avoidance sometimes under the law of the land, probably using the law of the land to its maximum advantage, may not be in the true letter and spirit, but they may go through the letter, or you can say they may go through the law, and they use several ways to avoid tax, that is tax avoidance. Technically speaking, sometimes it may not be against the law of the land, but tax evasion is against the law of the land. Deliberately avoid paying the taxes is tax evasion. And basically, lot of investment is coming from Seychelles. It is one of the tax havens in the world, and to curb tax evasion and tax avoidance, taxation agreement was signed for allowing exchange of information to curb tax avoidance and tax evasion. Look into the next issue, data of religions of 2011 census released. And as per the census released, Hindus constitute 79.8% of the population of India. Muslims constitute 14.2%. The next highest group is Christians with 2.3%, followed by Sikhs with 1.7%. All of you are well aware, population census take place once in 10 years. This is as per 2011 census. 2011 census, or the 15th and 7th after independence. And Registrar General and Census Commissioner of India released these figures. And if you look at these figures, Hindus constitute close to 80% in this country, and Muslims population is around 14.2%. And if you look at the growth rates, Hindu population growth during the decade 2001 to 2011, it is 16.76. Muslim population growth is 24.60. But here the point which you should not miss is the growth rates of Muslim population are falling faster than the fall in Hindu growth rates. Hindu growth rates at one point of time touched 24% during the decade of 1971-1981. Now they came down to 16%, 24 to 16. But if you look at the Muslim population, they touched the highest of 32.88%, 32.88% in 1981-91 decade, and within 20 years that came down to 24.6%. That means the population growth rates are falling across the country, almost in all the religions. Right? Look into the next issue, sports and games. Rajiv Gandhi Khel Ratna Award was presented to Sania Mirza. She is the second tennis player after Leander Paes to get this medal. This carries 7.5 lakhs, a medal and a certificate. If you look at the Dhyanchand Awards, these Dhyanchand Awards are presented for the lifetime achievement. 3 persons got it. And the Dronacharya Awards, these are for coaches. It carries 5 lakh cash. as well as a statute. You may ask, what is a statute? A statute is nothing but a small statue. For Dronacharya award winners, a small statue of Dronacharya will be presented. That is called a statute. Look at Arjuna awards. This carries a cash prize of rupees 5 lakhs. It also carries a statue of Arjuna, or you can say statute. So these awards were presented recently. And about various awards instituted by Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports, we will discuss next week in the analysis. Look at the miscellaneous events. Most important, GSLV D6 places GSAT-6 in orbit. This GSLV, Geosynchronous Satellite Launch Vehicle, places GSAT-6. This is geostationary satellite. GSLV places GSAT-6 in orbit. Here, two important points I would like to tell you. This is based on cryogenic upper stage engine. Cryogenic. You may ask, what is cryogenic? Cryogenics is the science deals with low temperatures. Cryogenics is the science deals with low temperatures. When the temperature goes below minus 150 degrees centigrade, and some persons say it is minus 180 degrees centigrade, yet that low temperatures, propellants are to be maintained. That is the real challenge, and this is the second successful experiment with the cryogenic upper stage by ISRO. This is the second successful experiment of cryogenic upper stage by ISRO. Last time it tested in the year 2014. First time it failed in the year 2010, and in the year 2014 it was successful, and for the second time consecutively cryogenic upper stage experiment is successful. And because of the success of this cryogenic experiment, now this GSLV D6 rocket may be used for NISAR program. You may ask, what is the NISAR program? NISAR program is NASA-ISRO joint program, that is NASA-ISRO Synthetic Aperture Radar program. NISAR program is NASA-ISRO Synthetic Aperture Radar program, that is NISAR program. This agreement was signed last year, and by the year 2020-21, this synthetic aperture radar satellite is going to be commissioned jointly by ISRO and NASA. This NISAR will be commissioned by 2020-21 jointly by NASA and ISRO, and now as a rocket launcher this GSLV D6 will be used, because two successful experiments makes it operational status. If any new technology is successfully experimented for two consecutive times, then it will be stated as operational rocket. As GSLV D6 became operational, or you can say this cryogenic upper stage technology now became successful experiment. Now the NISAR project will be launched with this GSLV, right? And with this, let us conclude, and this PSLV, GSLV, SLV, all these things we will discuss in news analysis. Exactly what are the programs of this we are going to discuss shortly in the news analysis program. And with this, let us conclude this week's lecture part. Please do join for news analysis and features. Have a nice day. Thank you.